The wind ripped through the sky, tugging at scales and wings alike. Flames streaked behind the dragons as they raced across the floating cliffs. At the back, a young dragon named Rilo struggled to keep pace. His wings flapped unevenly, catching more air than lift, and every push seemed to drag him further behind. Laughter erupted from the spectators perched on the stone platforms, their voices sharp as shards. "You call that flying?" one shouted. "My hatchling could do better." Rilo's chest tightened. His jaw quivered, but he forced himself forward. He wanted to prove them wrong, even if the ground below was closer than the sky he dreamed of conquering. He banked sharply, only to overcorrect, spinning sideways and scraping the cliff's edge with a claw. A shower of sparks rained down, earning more jeers. From the crowd, an elderly human man's voice cut through the noise. "Patience," he said, calm yet firm, almost like a command. "Strength is not always what they see." All eyes turned to him. The dragons ignored the small, wiry human figure in the front row. His hands were gnarled with age, his uniform faded from decades of training young athletes. No one paid him much attention, until now. Rilo's ears twitched. The voice carried something different, something like certainty. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the cliff above. A small metallic drone plummeted from the sky, spinning wildly, sparks flying from its panels. The crowd screamed and ducked, thinking it a threat. Rilo froze mid-flap, wings wide, heart pounding. The drone landed inches away from him, smoke curling upward. Its sensors blinked rapidly, scanning the dragons below, then fixed on Rilo with a soft blue light. The human stepped forward without hesitation. "Watch," he said. His hand shot out, and with a quick gesture the drone tilted, redirecting its scanning beam away from Rilo. The crowd gasped, unsure how a human could command a machine so quickly. The dragons hissed nervously, unaccustomed to a human interfering in their trials. "Come on," the man whispered, but loud enough for Rilo to hear. "Follow me. I can teach you something they'll never understand." Rilo hesitated. Humans were strange to dragons, fragile and small, yet somehow dangerous in ways scales and teeth could never match. And yet, something about the calm in the man's eyes, the unwavering certainty in his tone, stirred a spark inside him. The other dragons swooped past, wings beating like thunder. Mockery and laughter filled the air again. Rilo clenched his claws and flapped harder, but he was still slow, still awkward. Sparks flew from the cliff's edge as he scraped it again, nearly tumbling into the abyss. Panic clawed at him, yet he remembered the human's words. Strength is not always what they see. He landed awkwardly on a narrow ledge, wings shaking. The crowd's laughter was deafening now, and Rilo's chest burned with humiliation. But the human's gaze stayed on him, unwavering, almost like a lifeline. The drone beside them emitted a sudden high-pitched pulse, startling Rilo. Its lights flickered strangely as if it had detected something hidden, something neither dragon nor human understood. The man knelt beside the young dragon. "Look at me," he said. "You've been learning the wrong way. Power isn't in speed or strength alone. You've got the mind, but you're letting fear control your wings. Fear will always win unless you decide it won't." Rilo blinked, confusion and hope warring inside him. Fear had been his only companion, the laughter of others his constant shadow. Could a human really teach him what his own kind had mocked him for? Before he could answer, a shrill alarm cut through the arena. Another drone descended from the clouds, but this one moved differently, calculated, precise, almost alive. Its sensors locked on the crowd, scanning everyone with an intensity that made scales bristle. The spectators screamed and scrambled, but the human stood calm, placing himself between Rilo and the machine. "You're not ready to see this yet," the man muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Then he looked at Rilo with a steady gaze. "But soon, you will be." Rilo's heart pounded. His wings twitched. The drone's light reflected in his wide, green eyes. Questions flooded his mind. Who had sent these machines? Why were they here? And most importantly, could he survive what was coming? The human extended his hand. "If you trust me, flap. Don't fight the wind, use it. Now." Rilo took a deep breath, and for the first time, his fear didn't hold him down. He leaped into the air, uncertain, wings trembling, but moving. Sparks of courage ignited inside him. He wasn't alone anymore. Above, the second drone hovered, scanning, calculating. Its purpose was unknown, its threat undeniable. But the human had chosen him. And for the first time, Rilo felt a flicker of hope. The wind howled. The arena shook. And a race against more than just dragons had begun. Rilo landed awkwardly on the narrow ledge, wings shaking like wet leaves. The crowd's jeers still echoed, but the human's calm presence grounded him. "Follow me," the man said, motioning toward a narrow canyon at the edge of the arena. Rilo hesitated, glancing at the hovering drone. Its blue light flickered as if testing him, probing for weakness. He swallowed, then nodded. The human moved with surprising speed for his age, stepping across jagged rocks with ease. "First you must learn control," he said. "Fear is the enemy, not your wings. Let me show you." Rilo watched, puzzled, as the man began performing strange, precise motions, throwing small weights into the wind, balancing on uneven stones, twisting, ducking, and sprinting in ways that seemed impossible for a human. "Why are we doing this?" Rilo asked, frustration bubbling. "I need speed, not tricks." The human didn't answer immediately. Instead, he handed Rilo a jagged stone. "Lift it," he said. The dragon tried, grunting, but the stone felt impossibly heavy. "Not with strength alone," the man said, stepping back. "With timing, rhythm, and thought. Think before you act. Every flap, every turn, every dive, decide it. Don't just react." Rilo's claws dug into the rock. He tried again, focusing. The stone shifted slightly. It wasn't much, but it moved. Sparks of accomplishment flashed across his eyes. He looked up at the human, who nodded once, sharply, approvingly. "Good. That's the first lesson. Strength is empty without the mind behind it." The canyon was narrow, walls rising like steel. The man had set up a series of odd low-hanging branches and jagged rocks. "Now agility," he said. "Use your wings but plan your path. Predict the air." Rilo flapped and twisted, scraping against branches, stumbling, almost tumbling into the shadowy depths below. Every misstep earned a grunt from the human, not anger but a subtle correction. "Twist earlier. Feel the wind. Don't fight it." Each time Rilo followed the advice, he moved a little smoother. The small winds built something new inside him. Hope, confidence, courage. But tension grew. From the cliffs above, the rival dragon gang circled, their mocking laughs piercing the canyon. One shouted, "Still weak, Rilo? You'll never win a real race." The words stung, but Rilo's gaze hardened. He looked at the human. "I'm trying. I want to get stronger." The man's eyes glinted. "Then let's make them regret laughing." The next drill was even stranger. The human produced a thin, glowing rod that pulsed softly in the air. "This is a timing trainer," he said. "Move too soon or too late and it shocks you lightly." Rilo flinched, then lifted off, wings tense. He misjudged and got a small jolt across his scales. Pain sparked, but it also sharpened his awareness. Each attempt improved his reflexes, tiny successes stacking into a rhythm. The rival dragons hissed, puzzled by the dragon's sudden focus, but their amusement didn't fade. Suddenly, the first drone zipped down from above, its blue eye locking on Rilo. It hummed and scanned in rapid bursts, ignoring the rival gang entirely. The human frowned. "It's studying him. Something about you caught its attention," he muttered. "We'll need to be faster, smarter, and unpredictable." Rilo's heart raced. He had thought the training was only to improve speed, but now he realized the stakes were higher. Something watched, waiting for a mistake. Fear clenched his chest, but the human's presence grounded him. "Don't let it control you," the man said. "Use it. Predict it. Outsmart it." The day dragged on with grueling drills, timing jumps, precise wing flaps, dodging rocks, and maneuvering through narrow gaps. Each success brought a tiny spark of pride, each failure a lesson learned. The rival dragons continued to hover, throwing taunts, but none dared approach. The human's methods, strange and counterintuitive, were working. Rilo's movements became fluid, faster, more precise. He landed perfectly on a narrow ledge, chest heaving, scales slick with sweat and dust. "That's it," the human said, his voice sharp. "Feel your wings, not the air. Think before every flap." Rilo's eyes caught the flickering light of the drone. It hovered just above the canyon, pulsing. Its purpose was unknown, but the human didn't flinch. "You're learning more than speed today," he said quietly. "You're learning survival. The world doesn't give second chances. Not to dragons, not to humans. And not to anyone who hesitates." The tension snapped when the rival gang tried a sudden attack, swooping low to knock Rilo off balance. The young dragon reacted instinctively, twisting midair in a maneuver he had learned only minutes ago. He dodged, narrowly avoiding a collision. Cheers erupted from the human spectators who had sneaked close to watch. Small payoff. Real progress. But the drone reacted immediately, emitting a loud pulse that made Rilo's wings tremble. Its sensors glinted as if scanning deeper, more intently. The human narrowed his eyes. It's not just a game anymore, he muttered. They're watching everything we do. Rilo's chest pounded. He had improved, yes, but now he realized the world outside the arena was bigger, stranger, and more dangerous than he imagined. He glanced at the human. What is it?" he asked. The man's eyes softened. "Something you'll need to understand soon. And if you survive, you'll be ready." Rilo's wings twitched, anticipation and fear mingling. The sun began to dip, shadows stretching across the canyon. Another pulse from the drone flickered in the distance, sharper this time. The rival dragons hissed, confused and cautious. The human looked up, jaw tight. "They'll try again," he said. "And next time it won't just be a game." Rilo flapped hard, muscles straining, heart racing. The air trembled around him. He wasn't just training, he was preparing for something bigger, something unknown. The drone pulsed again, faster, brighter, almost alive. Its purpose remained a mystery. But for the first time, Rilo realized the human wasn't teaching him just for sport. He was teaching him to survive. And to outsmart a world that underestimated him. The canyon echoed with tension, wind, and unspoken challenge. And somewhere beyond the cliffs, the unknown watcher was already planning its next move. The sun dipped behind jagged cliffs, painting the canyon in shades of gold and shadow. Rilo perched on a narrow ledge, wings still trembling from the day's drills. His chest burned and sweat mixed with dirt, but something inside him felt alive, sharp, alert, ready. The human stood beside him, hands on his hips, eyes scanning the sky. "Quiet," the man said abruptly. "Something's coming." Rilo froze. The drone had vanished hours ago, but now the air hummed with a strange, metallic vibration. From the clouds, a fleet of drones descended, moving with precision, almost like predators circling prey. Their sensors glowed blue, scanning everything, the rocks, the spectators, even Rilo himself. Fear clawed at his chest, but the human didn't flinch. "They're not just observing anymore," the human said, voice low. "They're mapping every move, every weakness." A pulse shot from the lead drone, and the canyon walls flickered with faint, alien symbols that Rilo didn't understand. The human squinted, recognizing something. "These markings, they're encoded patterns," he muttered. "Someone, or something, wants to control this competition. They're studying us." Rilo's tail twitched. "Control us? Why?" The man's eyes darkened. "To manipulate dragons, to make them predictable. Whoever built these drones doesn't want dragons free. They want tools. Weapons." The young dragon shivered. All this time he had thought the mockery and rivalry were the worst part. Now he understood. The real danger was invisible. Watching. Calculating. Waiting for a mistake. "Then we fight differently," the human said. "Not with strength. Not with speed. With our brains. And our instincts. You're ready to learn more than flight. You're ready to survive." Rilo felt a spark of determination. He nodded, wings tensing. He wouldn't be prey. Not here. Not ever. The human led him to a narrow canyon tunnel, jagged rocks forming natural arches overhead. "We need to train your perception," the man said. He tossed a small reflective sphere that bounced erratically along the stone walls. "Track it with your mind, not just your eyes. Predict its path, anticipate the air currents, every twist and turn." Rilo lunged, dodging, flapping, twisting midair. He nearly collided with the walls several times. The drone fleet hovered above, scanning, glowing brighter as if sensing his every misstep. Each narrow success, avoiding collision, catching the sphere midair, landing precisely on a ledge, sent sparks of confidence through him. Small victories stacked like armor against fear. But then the lead drone pulsed sharply, and a hidden mechanism triggered. The canyon walls shifted slightly, revealing a concealed platform with metallic structures, apparently left there by someone unknown. Lights blinked along the surfaces, wires humming, a faint alien script glowing. Rilo's eyes widened. "What is that?" The human crouched low, examining the markings. "Surveillance and control," he said grimly. "They've been studying the races for years. Not just you. Every dragon in every league. This is how they manipulate outcomes." Rilo felt a surge of anger. "They think they can control us?" "They underestimated humans," the man said, eyes glinting. "And they underestimate dragons when we work together. That's why you're here. They won't predict your moves if you learn the right lessons." Another pulse from the drones rattled the rocks. Rilo flinched, but the human grabbed his claw. "Stay focused. The drones don't understand intuition, creativity, or courage. That's what we'll use." 4 hours they trained inside the hidden canyon, the human guiding Rilo through mental exercises as much as physical ones. The young dragon learned to anticipate air currents before they happened, to feel the tension in the wind, to twist mid-flight not by reaction but by instinct sharpened by logic. Every time he succeeded, the pulse from the lead drone grew more erratic, almost frustrated, as if it sensed its algorithms failing. A sudden noise snapped Rilo's attention. The rival dragon gang had discovered the hidden platform. They swooped down, jaws snapping, claws aimed to strike. Rilo reacted instinctively, twisting and spinning midair. He dodged a blow narrowly, but one claw grazed his wing, tearing a small membrane. Pain shot through him, but he ignored it. His mind replayed the human's lessons: predict, anticipate, control. He dove, banking sharply, using the wind currents the human had taught him to sense. The rivals were off balance, wings scraping rocks, unable to match his sudden, precise movements. Rilo landed on the narrow edge, chest heaving, scales gleaming with sweat and determination. He had not only survived the attack, he had outmaneuvered them completely. The human's hand rested on his shoulder. See? Brains, courage, and discipline beat raw strength every time. Rilo's eyes flicked toward the drones. The lead drone hovered just above, glowing bright blue, sensors scanning with intensity. It pulsed again, and the symbols on the rocks glimmered, almost forming letters he could not read. The human's expression tightened. "They're adaptive," he said, voice low. "They learn from every mistake. But you're learning faster." Rilo's heart pounded. He realized the truth. The competition, the mockery, the training, it was more than a game. It was survival. And if he could master these lessons, he could outsmart not just the rival dragons, but the invisible watchers who believed they could control him. Then, without warning, the lead drone released a sudden, bright pulse that enveloped the canyon in blinding light. The wind roared and the rocks trembled. Rilo barely held his grip, eyes wide, heart hammering. The human grabbed him, bracing against the shock. When the light faded, the metallic structures had shifted again, revealing a hidden tunnel leading deep into the cliffs. Strange hums echoed from within, unlike anything Rilo had ever felt. The pulse from the drone lingered, faint but insistent, as if calling to something unknown inside. The human leaned close, whispering, "They've been hiding more than control. There's something waiting for us, and it's not here for games." Rilo's tail twitched, scales trembling with anticipation and fear. He had survived training, survived attacks, and outsmarted rivals, but now the real challenge loomed, one that neither he nor any dragon had faced before. The wind howled through the hidden canyon. Shadows stretched across the walls. And from deep inside the tunnel, a low, mechanical hum began to grow louder, pulsing in sync with the lead drone above. Rilo looked at the human. "What is that?" The human's eyes narrowed. "Something you'll need to face head-on. And when we do, it will change everything." The tunnel stretched into darkness, jagged rocks forming jagged teeth overhead. The faint hum of the capsule echoed off the walls, pulsing like a heartbeat. Rilo crouched on a ledge, wings quivering, tail lashing. The human stood beside him, calm but tense, eyes scanning every shadow. "They're testing us," the man whispered. "Not just your skill, your instincts. They want to see what you'll do under pressure." Rilo swallowed. He had trained, survived attacks, and outsmarted rivals. But this felt different. The capsule pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy that made the canyon walls vibrate. Sparks flew from cracks in the rock. The young dragon's claws dug into the ledge instinctively, wings twitching. "Trust your training," the human said firmly. "Now move." Rilo leaped. His wings flapped, catching the wind just as the pulse from the capsule surged again. It sent a blast of kinetic energy through the air, pushing him backward. He twisted, flapped harder, and dodged a falling rock that tumbled from the ceiling. Pain flared in his shoulder, but he ignored it. Every movement was precise, calculated, not raw strength but intelligence and timing. The human grabbed a glowing rod and threw it ahead. It spun unpredictably. "Use it," he said. "Anticipate. Outsmart. Don't fight the challenge, be part of it." Rilo dove, wings slicing through the turbulent air. He caught the rod mid-spin, then used it to vault over a jagged platform that collapsed under the drone's next pulse. Sparks and fragments showered around him. Each action was cause and effect. He flinched at first, nearly missing the landing, but then remembered the human's lessons. Feel the wind, predict, don't react blindly. His claws found purchase. Small payoff, he stayed upright. The rival dragon gang appeared at the tunnel entrance, screeching, claws aimed, wings spread wide. Rilo barely had time to glance at them. They lunged, banking to hit him from both sides. The capsule's pulse lit the tunnel like a strobe, disorienting both predator and prey. "Now!" the human shouted. "Think, don't fight." Rilo's mind clicked. He dove straight, weaving between rocks, timing his flaps to coincide with the pulses from the capsule. The rivals crashed into the tunnel walls, miscalculating, while he threaded through narrow gaps, anticipation guiding every movement. His wings were scorched in places from sparks, membranes tearing slightly, but pain sharpened his focus instead of dulling it. Then the lead drone appeared, descending rapidly, sensors glowing intensely. Its pulse surged strong enough to knock him off course. Rilo twisted midair, using the human's taught techniques, feeling the turbulence, predicting the energy waves, flapping with rhythm instead of force. He landed on a narrow ledge just as the drone released another shockwave, shattering rock behind him. The human was beside him, panting slightly, but his gaze was razor-sharp. Good, but not done yet. They're adaptive. They learn from every mistake. Rilo clenched his jaw, heart pounding. Every instinct, every lesson, every ounce of courage he had gained over the past days fused into a single moment. The capsule pulsed violently, opening like a flower of metal. From inside emerged a smaller, more intricate drone, moving faster and smarter than the previous one. Its sensors glinted, almost alive. "They've escalated," the human said quietly. "This isn't just a test, it's an execution trial." Rilo flapped hard, taking off. The tunnel narrowed. Sparks rained down as the drones fired pulses, forcing him to weave like a needle through fabric. One drone lunged, claws extended. Rilo twisted sharply, using a rock ledge as a pivot, and sent the drone spinning into the tunnel wall. It shattered with a metallic scream. Small payoff, the first real strike against the invaders. The rivals tried again, but the human shouted, "Distract them. Use the light." He activated a reflective panel from his bag, bouncing the capsule's pulses to confuse the enemies. Rilo dove and twirled in perfect sync with the flashes, weaving between his attackers with precision, outsmarting raw strength. Then came the final moment. The lead drone, larger, more advanced, lunged directly at him. Its pulse was immense, shaking the tunnel. Rilo hesitated. The wind pushed against him, pain from torn wing membranes screaming through his body. "Remember," the human yelled. "Brains, courage, and timing, your wings are only half the battle." Rilo breathed deeply, felt the wind, calculated the pulse, anticipated the drone's movement. He dove straight toward the capsule, letting its energy surge around him. At the last moment he flipped, wings angled perfectly, and sent the drone into a collision with the wall. Sparks erupted. Metal screeched. Silence followed, thick and heavy. The rival dragons froze, terrified, while the pulse from the capsule dimmed, almost defeated. Rilo landed, chest heaving, scales gleaming with sweat and grime. He had done it. Outwitted technology and instinctively beaten what no dragon alone could survive. The human stepped forward, hand resting on Rilo's shoulder. This is why humans survive," he said. "Brains, courage, and the ability to adapt. That's what makes us unstoppable when others rely only on power." Rilo's chest rose and fell. Pride and relief surged, but his eyes flicked to the capsule. It had shifted slightly, revealing a tiny opening at the bottom. Something hummed inside, faint but alive. "They're not done," the human said, jaw tight. "They want more than competition. They're planning. And next time, it won't be just tests. It will be a hunt." Rilo's wings twitched, anticipation and fear mingling. He had survived impossible odds, but he knew this was only the beginning. Something bigger waited beyond the shadows of the tunnel. Above, the sky darkened, and from the cliffs, distant drones pulsed in unison, like a heartbeat calling across the mountains. Rilo looked at the human, eyes wide. "What is that?" he asked. The human's gaze hardened. "It's the real challenge. And when it comes, we'll need more than wings and courage. We'll need strategy, trust, and every lesson you've learned. Are you ready?" Rilo flexed his wings, pain and adrenaline flooding his senses. "I'm ready," he said, voice steady. "Whatever it is, we'll face it." The capsule pulsed once more, brighter than ever, before sinking into the shadows of the tunnel. Its faint hum lingered, like a warning heartbeat echoing through the rocks. The canyon fell silent after the pulse of the capsule faded. Rilo's wings trembled, torn in places but still strong. Dust settled on jagged rocks, and the rival dragons had retreated, cowering near the tunnel entrance. Rilo landed heavily, chest heaving, eyes fixed on the small, glowing mist that lingered on the canyon floor. The human knelt beside him, voice calm but intense. "You've done more than survive today. You've learned something every dragon must understand. Strength isn't enough. Courage alone isn't enough. It's the mind, the timing, the ability to adapt, using everything you have in the moment that counts. Rilo's tail flicked nervously. But the capsule, the mist, what was it? Are they going to come back? They will, the human said. And next time it won't just be a test. They're learning, observing, planning. But now so are we. And that's why you're ready. The young dragon looked at him, confusion giving way to understanding. He had trained for speed, agility, and control, but what he had truly learned was instinct sharpened by intellect. Every movement he had made, every pulse he had dodged, every trick he had mastered, had taught him something humans already knew. Survival required courage, intelligence, and determination. The rival dragons sneered from afar, but Rilo didn't care. They had mocked him endlessly for being weak, for flapping too slowly, for failing the races. Now he could see the truth. Their strength alone was meaningless without brains, focus, and heart. A spark of pride warmed him. He could fly better than he ever thought, not just with his wings, but with his mind guiding every motion. The human stood, brushing dust from his uniform. And there's one more thing, he said, glancing at the mist. The secret I promised. It's not just about speed or strength. There's a pattern hidden in the way these drones move. A rhythm. They pulse in ways predictable to the trained eye. You learned it without knowing. That's what will make you unstoppable. Rilo tilted his head. A secret pattern? Yes, the man said, smiling faintly. A rhythm. Anticipate it and you control it. Ignore it and you're prey. That's why humans survive when others fail. We see what's coming and act, not react. Rilo flexed his wings experimentally. He flapped once, then again, imagining the pulses and the rhythm. His claws dug into the rock and he felt it, the connection between movement, timing, and prediction. Small payoff, he could sense the pattern already, even in the fading mist. From the tunnel, the faint hum of the capsule began again, slower this time, almost hesitant. Rilo crouched, eyes narrowed. The mist shimmered and coalesced, forming a tiny flickering shape, smaller, faster, and more deliberate than the previous drones. Its sensors glowed, scanning, waiting. The human placed a hand on Rilo's shoulder. They think they can control the outcome. But you've learned to anticipate, to adapt, to survive against impossible odds. Now you know the truth. Your strength is not in what others see, it's in how you use every part of yourself. Mind, heart, and wings together. That's the secret. Rilo felt something swell inside him. Fear mixed with determination, doubt with clarity. The mist pulsed again and he flapped sharply, twisting midair in rhythm with the drone's energy. It hesitated, sensors flickering, then backed away slowly. The rival dragons watched, stunned. The young dragon, once mocked, now dominated the space with intelligence and skill far beyond raw strength. The human nodded. They'll be back, he said. But next time you'll be ready. Not because you're the fastest or the strongest, but because you're smarter, braver, and more precise than anything they've faced. Rilo landed beside him, chest rising and falling, scales glistening with sweat. Pride and exhilaration surged. He had survived impossible tests, outwitted technology, and mastered the hidden patterns the drones used to manipulate the races. He had been mocked, ridiculed, and underestimated, but he had learned the secret humans had always known. Courage and intelligence together could defy any odds. From the cliff above, the distant shapes of other drones flickered against the horizon. Their blue sensors pulsed like warning lights. Rilo's eyes narrowed, determination replacing fear. He flexed his wings, feeling the wind shift around him, anticipating the rhythm, the pulse, the unseen danger. He was ready. The human glanced at him, a faint smile tugging at his lips. They think they can control the game. They don't know you've learned the rules they can't even see. That's why humans survive. That's why you will survive. Rilo lifted off, wings steady, mind sharp, heart unyielding. The rivals hissed, backing away, and the drones pulsed again, almost like a heartbeat echoing across the cliffs. But Rilo was no longer prey. He was prepared, aware, alive in a way no mockery or challenge could suppress. The canyon stretched ahead, shadows shifting, mysteries hidden in every corner. The capsule glowed faintly, its purpose still unknown, its secrets partially revealed. Rilo's tail flicked with anticipation. The adventure wasn't over. Far from it. The human whispered almost to himself, next time we won't just survive. We'll challenge them. And when we do, they won't see it coming. Rilo's eyes gleamed, the wind carrying a pulse through his wings. He had learned the secret, mastered the challenge, and discovered something greater, Humans and dragons together could outthink any obstacle, survive any threat, and defy impossible odds. The sun sank fully, shadows stretching long across the canyon floor, but the glowing mist lingered, faint and alive, a reminder that the unknown was still watching. Rilo's wings flexed, ready for whatever came next. And somewhere in the distance, a low, metallic hum echoed, the beginning of a new challenge, a bigger mystery, waiting to test every lesson he had learned.